Well, good evening. It's Monday night. It must be Airfix and chill. Good evening, everyone, and I hope you've had a really good week. I've had a great week, actually. One of my videos has kind of gone viral, and it's been great seeing all these new subscribers and and I asked the question on that video because it was about rare kits, and they were my top 10 rare kits, nobody else's, but the 10 kits I would love in my stash, basically. And all of a sudden, the response I've had, about 500 comments I've got to go through. Well, I have gone through, and there's definitely room there for me to make another video this week. So I'm going to do another video of other rare kits that I left off the list, and there were reasons for leaving them off, but it was fantastic. So really good response to that video. But anyways, just quickly want to just say, Brett, you're still in our thoughts, mate. And I'm not going to say too much into it. If you want to hear about it, it was 2 weeks ago. And we just you're in our thoughts. And hopefully, after everything's calmed down, you'll be back with us on the panel of Airfix and Chill. But sending all our love, all from Airfix and Chill. Our condolences, our sympathies to you and your family. Anyways, we've got 6 at the moment. Hopefully some more will pop in later. I know Luke's working tonight. I've heard nothing back from John Parker or anything like that, but hopefully they'll pop in.
John Parker's going to be late.
He's going to be late, is he?
I've not heard from Alex, to see
Okay, I've not heard from Alex either. I think he's doing his house still, isn't he? So anyway, we've got quite a few in tonight. We've got James from Tabody Go, we've got Tinzan, we've got Dirk from Alt 92, Spur and Glue, John Alec, our American friend there, and we've got Ian as well from Small Scale Futures. Before I go on, Ian, is your microphone working fine tonight?
I hope so. Is it? Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, mate. Can you hear me? Which is good. We had a month of tremendous news about releases. Nuremberg came upon us, and Tamiya announced stuff. Trumpeter announced stuff. Academy announced a couple of kits, I think. Revell, well, they didn't really announce much, but they had basically pushed out what they were going to release. I think they got a Messerschmitt coming, I think, as well, which was added onto the list, and the Space Shuttle was added onto the list. Obviously, Airfix gave us, so many kits to look at and think about and probably pre-order. And it's been really good. Tamiya was a bit on the slack side. We got that French stroke German tank, but nothing else really. Was there a Porsche chucked in there? Was that a Reeboks? I can't remember.
Yes.
Now. Yeah,
the Porsche chucked in there.
Yeah, the Porsche chucked in there as well. But the one that we haven't, Mini Art, obviously, they're always burning out stuff. Micromere and AMP have announced a few things, and they've been in contact this week. They want to send me some kits to do reviews on, so that'll be good. Interestingly, AMP are bringing out an Islander, which was a tri-prop plane, I think it was. He had one on the wing, two on the wings, one on the fin. And that's one that's interesting me because I remember seeing them being built and flown out. Well, I didn't see them built, but I saw them flying around, and they were based from the Isles of Wight, so homegrown. I think it was Jersey European or somebody used to fly them from Exeter and Bristol.
Yeah, it was Aurigny used to fly them from Exeter. They're Fokker Trilanders. They are.
That's the Fokker Trilanders. That's the one. Yeah, so they're bringing that one out. But the one we haven't heard from, well, I haven't had anything, no press releases, no nothing, is Hella. Now, we had the privilege of watching on this channel. One of the first Airfixes and Chills was that we went and viewed on a Hella channel, what they were going to release. And there was a big fanfare, lots of not retooling, reboxing, and a lot of tools, but the things were like trailers. And the one that really interested us was the E2C Hawkeye, I think it was, and that's still not in any shop or anything like that. So I thought tonight let's just show Hella a bit of love, because I think Alt's got some really, because Hella was bought from the French side and then brought into a company called Glow 2B, I think it was called, and which is interesting. So they're now owned by a German. I think I can't say it's scale model. It's more of a toy division. Is that right? Oh, is that the thought of it? Is it like a I think O2B don't just do
importer, exporter, distributor for several brands.
But they're not really
they
a scale
they
model.
bought the names and then basically they built up what remained of Heller after their last bankruptcy, basically.
Yeah.
So they bought up everything, including the factory, the molds, and the name, the training name. So it's kind of similar to what happened to Airfix with a large investment from private equity as well. It's kind of similar to that, basically. But they have to start from scratch, basically, doing all their marketing stuff again.
Yeah.
Largely with the same staff that they used to have before, but it's now directed from Be in Germany.
Yeah.
So it looks kind of weird because the domain is still French, the company is still very French-looking outward, but it's owned by Germans, which is funny if you think of it.
Yeah.
Going on as we always do, we're very, very fond of Scalemates, and if we just go through, this is basically kits that were announced and released, or should I say, they were just announced basically over the last 2 years. So you've got 2024 and 2025. Basically, they're saying here that there was 10 scale that they've gone back into. You can see there they've got the 1/200, 125, 150, all the way back up to the 1/24 scale. But a lot of these kits that have been released are just reboxing. And when I go to a scale model shop and see what's on offer, and I've been to a few in the last 12 months, obviously, and also at traders at scale model shows, a lot of this stuff I've not even seen, and I do keep a lookout for Heller, to be honest, what's new. But for instance, we can scroll down and the Citroen HY and goods trailer starter set. Now, apparently these are now in stock somewhere, or they just been announced. No, nobody's got them in stock. Oh, yeah, they say they are in stock, but none in England. You've got them in Germany. But also, you can't judge this because a lot of on the marketplace on Scalemates, they they say in stock when you go to the website. It says you can pre-order it, if you know what I mean. But it seems to be that they kind of lost their way, or are they trying to find their way in the future? You can see there you got the Gordini racing set, which the box
is
art.
A nice one, old one, yeah.
Yeah.
My mother used to own a Gordini. What was it? An 8 or 10? Which looked kind of similar because basically the engine is in the back. It was blue as well, 2 white stripes all over. Bigger rear wheels. Fronts were 12-inch, the rears were 13-inch. That was fun.
Yeah. But that, to me, they're looking at that box art, you would think, oh, I want that kit. But when I went clicking on it, I swear that there was nobody that's got it for sale. It's.
I bought it at Telford from Jadlam.
Did you?
I don't remember how much I paid for it. It's interesting because the van is the new mold, the Estafette van, but the car dates from about 1970 something, I think.
Yeah, I know it's an old car.
Yeah, the Gordini Renault is an older one. The van is indeed a new one. The same goes for the trailer in the previous one that you showed. Because that car transport trailer.
The trailer's new, is it?
That is a new mold.
Yeah.
Which also goes for the previous one you showed earlier on the top.
Yeah.
Which is that one.
Yeah.
So the HY van is probably also an older one, but the goods trailer is a new mold.
Okay.
So it's basically they're going through the back catalog, which is kind of big and kind of awesome if you think of it, because it's typically French and It's the oddball stuff you won't see anywhere else.
So they've actually pulled a bit of a blinder here. They announced a trailer in 2024, a new tool trailer, and then what they've basically done is thought, well, we'll release this trailer, and then basically create model sets of vehicles that will basically, create a new range of model sets and starter sets, because a lot of them come with the paints and the glue and the paintbrush. So it's a bit of a genius stroke, I suppose, or stroke of
I hope it
genius.
works for them.
I do too, to be fair. But my only caveat to all this is, do they give you a spare part so that you can add a towage to all these vehicles, or does it just come separately? That there's no way of attaching the trailer to those models.
I wonder whether the tow hitch is in the trailer kit. I don't know.
That's what I mean. And they've got to be, there's, because if the kits are like 5-year-old and they've just decided to bring out a trailer, do you know what I mean?
I'll have a look because I've got that Gordine.
Oh, you put it there, have you?
Yeah. But I don't know if it's got like a parts sprue. I can't really see on that. It's very faint.
Yeah.
But you must hitch it somehow. I'll go back to the van.
The tow hook is not on the regular kit for the Citroen HY van.
Yeah.
No.
But it might be added on the trailer bit.
Because that would be a faux pas, that they offer this van and this trailer and this car, and there's no way of attaching it to each other. You would think, hang on a minute, I think you've...
that would be silly, yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense.
Graham French here has just banged in here. The tow bar is in the trailer kit. Just bought one this week.
Great.
From Cadman.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
I hopefully they would
at least that shows they thought about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's because if you think about it, a lot of these vehicles will have a bumper, and you would have to modify that bumper in some way to get that towage to work as well. So there must be workarounds involved, and hopefully they would add the workarounds in the. Obviously you would put a tow bar.
The HY has a flat rear front basically. That's just a flat plane.
Got in here. What have we got? Is that tow bar there? Is it?
The tow hook there, yeah. So it tells you to drill a hole in the bottom of the van, and then it attaches to that. So it is in the trailer kit.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Excellent.
Well, there you go then. So they have thought outside the box a little bit, which is fair enough. Yeah. But the thing that we were saying that we were very excited about the Hawkeye, and they did a big video on it. If I scroll down, I think it was really, let's have a look. Let's keep scrolling down. It should be here. So there's the Hawkeye there. Let me just. Am I sharing the screen? No, I'm not sharing yet. I better add it to the stage. So this is the Hawkeye here in 1/72 scale, and this is a version of basically a model set with the paints and the glue and the brush. But that's a future one, so no one's got this in stock. But if you go to 3 years ago, then we were watching that. It must have been 3. It must be 2.5 years ago. It must, yeah. Well, we started doing Airfix. We must have started doing Airfix in Chill in 2003. Was it 2002? And it was one of the first Airfixes in Chills. We actually went
2022, Mars. We're not that old.
Yeah, but
they announced it after they were basically taken over by Glow 2B.
Yeah.
This was to be their first aircraft kit as a new release.
Yeah.
And it got postponed basically till the original planning date was for 2023, I believe.
Yeah.
And that just slipped backward.
Yeah. So.
But then again, it's a completely new kit, and I think they are depending on Kinetics 1, which is 1/48 scale.
Oh, they're
without doing it.
reducing that one, are they? Reducing the size of the kinetic one, are they?
Well, you can take the drawings, but downscaling a kit is not that easy because you have to take into account all the nitty-gritty bits of downscaling an item because the plastic thickness is different.
Yeah.
You have to do it according to what is suitable for your molding techniques and your molding setup. So basically, it's a redesign, but based on the catwalk and the designs of the kinetic one.
Okay.
As far as I've heard.
Yeah.
They will also include a Greyhound, so the carry on-board delivery version without the disc.
Okay.
Yeah.
That will be either late this year or looking at what happened with this particular one may even be next year. But
Yeah.
at least if this one actually makes a showing in the first half of this year, I would be very happy, and I think that would be very good news for Hella as well.
I think they, I support Hella. You know, I've got really good memories of building the Peugeot 205, the Ford, is it Ford Fiesta or Ford Focus in rally colours years and years ago. A lot of the cars, the Airfix box back in the day, were Hella tool in, and I can't deny it, they were enjoyable builds from Hella.
They went together well.
They did. They did. And the last thing I want to see is see Hella in the wayside, going by the way, and I just wonder what the crack is really with where are Glow 2B going with such and I'm going to say it, an iconic brand. We think about all those commercial airlines that we did back in the day; they were Hella tooled. The 172nd, I know it's a bit of a dog shit kit now, comparable to what we did do, but I've seen the Concorde in 172nd scale, the Airfix box, I think back in the late 90s. They had basically, everybody was building that one. It's a big kit, mind. It wasn't the easiest to build, but it did come out quite nice.
Yeah, Lexi's building that kit as we speak. So
yes, that's why I mentioned it, because I watched a Hella video too. Because I wish she was on tonight really, because she loves a bit of Hella, doesn't she?
Yep,
she loves a Cougar.
Yeah, she does. I saw that tonight as well. I left a comment on a video.
Okay, for myself, I'm eagerly awaiting the Peugeot 205 GTI version, because that's basically that was, I had two. I drove two of them.
Yeah.
And they were red as well. So as you can tell from the box art, if you look at the 205 GTI that plan to release, it's that bright red. That used to be my car.
Just asking, is that a Reebok?
Awesome.
No, it's not a new tool though. It's a Reebok.
It's a revised tooling because they used this one.
Yeah.
So not the Turbo Rally one, but they used it as the base model and then put the normal standard road car shell on it. So it comes with a standard road shell. So it's just a road going version of the GTI, which is excellent for me. That's just brilliant.
Yeah, it's the law to have them red, isn't
it? Yes, or that particularly Griffin Green, what they call it. They had a special version of the 205 GTI 1.9 Griff version. That was green with dark grey spoke wheels. That was awesome. And mind you, they didn't come with power steering at all. So you really had to pull on the steering wheel.
Steering was nice and light.
I saw a lot of Peugeot 205s back in the day. I was more of a Corsa boy. I had a Fiat 127 when I was a lad, so. Kitchen Table Modelers saying Hella did some fantastic ship kits too. They stand up very well with Airfix and Revell.
Yep.
Yes, they did.
Bit of an old scales, 400 instead of 1350, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's in the industry somewhere.
Some of the ships, the 100 scale Victory is phenomenal, but it's very, very complicated to build.
Yeah.
I found with Hella, if they can make something out of 20 parts rather than 3, then they will do. It's a bit like mini art.
Yeah.
So I think there's 100 cannon on the Victory, and each one's got 13 parts or something
Yeah.
like that. So it's a lot of cannons.
Sarah's saying that yellow 205 is the Dakar version, which was stretched for a bigger fuel tank. I said I saw a few. I had a Peugeot 305 and a 309 at one point. Yeah, I had one of the, but I wouldn't buy a Peugeot now. I would like a 905 though. I think that looks a cracking little kit. That, to be honest. What makes me love it, looking at it, it's a 143 scale, which is interesting because that's the scale that Airfix decided to produce their starter sets in, was 143. So you can see there was, there wasn't. It wasn't like a new sort of skin. There's a legacy of 143 because even this week, it's not a commission build, but I've got a friend who does have. Let me just stop that a minute. We'll go back to this in a minute. This one here, the 143 scale Mercedes-Benz 450 SL, which I'm going to over time just put it together. But to be honest with you, 2 sprues and there's not a drop of flashes. And this is an old kit light, but not a drop of flash on it. And it looks relatively simple to build. So that's my joy of this week, is to get this one together and get that looking. And it even comes with the chrome parts, which I'm not fond of, but there is a place for it, isn't there? So Nigel's just popped in, brilliant. 143 is a standard scale for model cars, has been for many years, but what I'm trying to get at is that Airfix, I think when it comes to 143 it's a little bit smaller. I prefer to build 130. If I was going to build a car, I prefer 132nd. I think a lot of us here in the chat would agree that 132nd scale is a pretty good scale to play with. You can add a lot more detail to a car with 132nd scale. So the police have gone by me, so I'm all right. I'm safe. I don't have to run off. And 143, and also I know that the Corgi range, the diecast was 143 as well. So it's and they've now bring the Peugeot 905 here.
Vanguard's was the ones you're looking
Vanguard,
for.
that's the one. Vanguard. I was trying to think of the name then. It was Vanguard because I've got a few of them up in my upstairs, So, but yeah, it's interesting, and I'm just going back to. Let me just go over there and just go back and see what else. You've got the 928 coming out as well. Which I can't remember what year was the 928? 928 was crumbs. 1979.
So a new tool. Basically that was its heyday. It was 79, 1980, that kind of thing. And I think the S version came out in 81, 82 or something like that, 83. So that's pretty nice. But the scale 143rd, I've never done a 134, 143rd.
Yeah, it is a tiny scale. It is a tiny scale. They've said bring out a few Porsches here. Oh, they're bringing out the. So while Airfix have done these 143 starter sets, they've kind of done the same because this 928 has been announced as a starter set. I'm just looking down through. Has anybody got one in stock? That ain't bad either. £10.39 apparently. But are they?
It's not a big model, is it?
Pardon?
They're at Hannon's. Have a look on Hannon's. Because most of the header kits are on Hannon's.
They are on Hannon's, are they?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna go looking on there. Actually, that's not. It's they're not. We're not in. They're not showing in this country. That's what I'm saying. And maybe Hannon's need to get their ass in gear and get themselves on scale, mates. Because that's what I tend to do. If I see a car, I end up, and I see something I like, I go buy it. Whoever's ever on scale, mates.
Why would they want to do that? Because that basically that means that their database needs to be linked to whatever Scalemates is using.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't see Hallen's doing that. But anyway,
Yeah. So there's a few
they
stuff.
seem to be going for what looks like you can get the regular kit, and then also a starter kit version with paints and all that, and that seems to be pretty standard across the range. If you look at their own site, for instance, basically every model, every kit that they've done has a version with paints and all that.
I love that AHN2 French truck. Well, I wonder what year that was produced then. So, ICM there. So it's an ICM kit.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Fair play, ICM. Well, you're going to get something of quality there.
They do the Panhard as well.
What's that, sorry?
They do the Panhard 178.
Okay.
And that's an ICM kit.
What is the Panhard 178? What kind of vehicle is that? Is that
you built it, John?
Vehicle? Or was that the 172? Yeah, I don't know.
I'll come back to you, Paul, in a minute. So they are reboxing other manufacturers then. Well, fair enough. So basically that's Glow2B then have grabbed that and are going to run with it. But I do like that box art. I hope the decals.
That could actually, but that could actually be a benefit of them being hooked up to a distributor like Glow2B, because that makes it easier to negotiate whatever reboxing deals you want to do with somebody else.
And also because Glow2B are not known in this market, I suppose that means that they can
maybe not in the UK, but on the main markets on the mainland.
Yeah.
They are pretty well known as a distributor, basically.
So what they're doing is basically they're using Hella to distribute and rebox other people's kits as well under their own guise. So you could just buy. All they're basically doing is buying the plastic, and then hopefully doing their own decals and their own instructions for that kit.
They are Glow2B is basically business to business, right? So as a distributor, you sell your models to individual model shops or chains or whatever. But that means also that it's easier for you to negotiate. Okay, give me a run of 5,000 XYZs from ICM or whoever else.
Yeah.
And it depends on which brands that they do. If you check the brands that they do, either Aerobonus, Eris, AV Club, AK, Airfix, of course, A model, AMG. There's a whole lot. They are quite big because they also do Edward, for instance.
Yeah.
Hobby 2000, Hobby Boss, Kinetic, which makes sense if you think about it.
Yeah.
Mong. They do a lot of stuff. So they're basically a distributor for everyone in the business. That is not buying directly from a manufacturer.
Fair enough. I get that. I understand they're a distributor, but they've now got the rights now of, instead of distributing, say, ICM, they can rebox it for themselves and just call it a Hella.
It looks like they want to maintain the Heller brand.
Yeah.
Specifically because it is a good brand. Everybody knows Heller as a brand name.
Yeah.
So why not maintain it?
We've got a bit of a love-hate relationship, haven't we, the English, towards Heller, because of when the buyout was made back in the day, and we wanted those tools back. They had to negotiate to get the tools out. So.
And it depends on how the business setup actually was. Yeah. And
yes.
Who knows? So yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, you could also say it was a badly written contract. That's also an option.
Hornby just wanted Airfix as the brand. They had no intention of buying a French brand. In theory, I reckon they could have bought everything, lock, stock, and barrel. But what did they do? They bought the two brands that were English. Humbrol, and Airfix.
Mm.
But then again, there's a lot of tooling that Hella have released since that were officially Airfix tooling.
That depends. Airfix, as in made while they were combined under the same parent company as Heller was. Because that makes a difference in that case, because then it's not an individual Airfix tooling, it's a group tooling, which could be marketed for both Airfix or Heller.
Well, I don't know that because
owns...
there was a lot of tooling made whilst they were conjoined, and Airfix got them tooling. But there's a couple of kits. If they were released under the Airfix name, because you still got to remember that even though they were owned under that umbrella, they still have their own separate budget. So Airfix would have a budget to tool things in their name, and Heller would have done so in their name. Is it Humbrol Heller? I think it was, if I remember rightly.
And some of them would be combined as well. Just the generic tooling that could be used by both marks.
Yeah. I know, but we've noticed that some of the tooling that was officially released originally under the Airfix name should have really come across. They've announced that they're going to be releasing a Jaguar, but I presume they announced this before that Airfix put theirs out, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
again, like we were saying, it originally was an Airfix tooling, 1994. And then it was mostly released for the Airfix brand. And then when the split happened in 2025, that was the last time. Then Revell, I didn't know Revell released it as well, this kit. So this is one of the examples I was saying that it is actually, going by this, it was actually an Airfix tooling, and now they went and released it themselves now. But in theory, that should have been given back to Airfix until, and that was the end of that. But 128 pieces for 148. There's not a lot of parts in it, is there? Never built it. I know that everybody wanted one.
Well, it's the same kit as in the Airfix box. So anyone who's built this one in the Airfix box knows what it's like.
Yes, exactly. Just on that flip side, this is a 2-in-1, this one. So it must have two kits in one box.
No, you can build either of two versions in one box.
Oh. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So they put two models in the box to build?
No. Two versions of one model.
Two options.
It'll be one basic model, and then
No, because it's saying there 5 decorations provided.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so? Have you looked at another box?
So
It comes with 10 markings.
There'll be parts in there and decals in there to build it, 2 or 5 different ways, but there won't. I don't think you can build 2 independent Jaguars out of that one box.
You still got one plane.
I'm sure that 2-in-1 means there's 2 in the box.
No, it isn't.
Okay.
You get one plane. You can build it as a GR1 or a GR3, and in total you have 5 markings.
Right.
Basically, the way Airfix do kits now was.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not magic.
Right. Okay, I get that. All right. Okay. Fair enough. So 2-in-1. Right. Okay. That's right. I was just looking at the Hella Ferguson track that came with 2 kits and 1 diorama base. You see. That's fine. But what sort of price are they going for? Anybody got any ideas? There's nothing. No pricing. Quick look, but none for sale in this country. It looks like, going by scale mates. So that Jaguar, just looking through, or the Gloria. Is it Glory? Is it the Glory?
The starter set for that Jaguar.
No, this Glory U. This thing here. This is shit.
Okay, but the starter set for the Jaguar is on sale here, and that's including the paints and all that stuff for €40.
So that'd be £36.
So 35 euros for the one without paints.
Right. Okay.
The kit's 30 quid at Jadland, Moss.
I didn't see that. Okay, fair enough. But that's basically it. That's what they're offering as Oh, that panel looks nice, doesn't it? That 2-in-1's a bit deceiving, isn't it? But fair enough. Just saying, it is a bit deceiving. But that's an ICM kit as well.
They learned that trick from the Chinese.
Yeah.
they do that all the time.
I wonder how many people do end up going and buying a kit thinking they're getting 2-in-1 and they get home and there's only one in there and they're mightily pissed.
Yeah, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, right?
Yeah. That's it.
Especially for 30 quid.
So yeah, and there's another one that's from ICM, the Panhard 178, which is what you.
Oh, we've lost Moz.
He's hit the wrong button.
Oh dear.
Over to you,
I think
James.
his internet's dropped.
We swapped out Moss for John. So yeah.
Yeah.
Here's. Oh, he's back. Here we
Here
go.
we go.
I didn't touch you.
It's all right. No, it's internet went then. I saw the red light on the box. So I'm back. So I just stopped. Saw the red flicker and then it cut, and then I was able to log back in again, which is good. No, and 2-in-1 means you have two options. I get that now. Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, I still feel that's a little bit.
It's word trickery.
Word trickery. That's the the one for
It's good. It's good marketing. It's good marketing. Let's put it out.
Just about to say that someone has allowed a marketeer to meddle with it, haven't they?
Yeah. Well, it is basically a distribution company. So, yeah, that's a fair shout. But we wish the best on Hella. I really do. I'm not talking. I'm not. This wasn't. I'm not slagging them off. No. We just thought we would have a little chat about it because they've not announced anything so far this year. And I was hoping that they would.
Well, they did show the Hawkeye over at the Messe. So
yeah,
they had a built version of that one, which is a good thing because basically from late December, early January, where there wasn't any news released yet, I was actually kind of worried because we had a discussion somewhere else on Heller. Yeah. And I basically said, okay, this year is going to be a make or break year for Heller. If they do not come out with anything new, as they have promised, they don't release it. Despite, let's say, for instance, that Hawkeye was originally planned for release in 2023, right?
Yeah.
It's gone over to 2024, no release. It's now said, okay, we're going to release this quarter. I would certainly hope that it would be released because we have seen all the other reboxings that they've done for their older kits, which isn't bad per se, but they're not new molds. They're nothing new. They did this one, for instance, re-release, which is nice. But if you're promising have a new kit out, a new design, you should follow up on that one.
Yeah.
So I'm keeping my fingers crossed until it actually shows up, because in my view, this is going to be a make or break year for Heller. If they do not succeed in launching the kits that they promised to release, then I don't think they have a lot of life in them for the future. And I sincerely hope I'm wrong.
I think there needs to be that common investment from Glow 2B into getting an excitement of a company, and
get someone else to do the videos, because that presenter was not really enthusiastic. Very laid back, very staid, very German.
Yeah.
Doing the presentation for a French company, that's not really going to help.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, but also somebody had to do it, and he decided to
what is interesting is what they've done with the packaging, because they've done away with polythene in the boxes, and everything's wrapped in tissue paper, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, the boxes fit the sprues. There's not a lot of wiggle
Yeah.
room in them.
Yeah.
It depends on which boxing you get, because I noticed a comment earlier where someone had the double boxing of the Nord Atlas, which is kind of big plane anyway, and you get 2 in the box, and the box is ginormous.
Okay.
But it still has plenty of space for stuff to rattle around in, which really needs that wrapping around it in order to not break parts like we had with the very tight boxes that Airfix gave us on the Rotodyne with the broken tops.
And the
That's a nice kit. Yeah.
The other interesting thing is those. See the going on my camera. You get these little postcards inside the box of the box art.
Yeah.
Which Airfix or somebody could do that as well, couldn't they? It's a nice touch.
I think I was talking about this the other. Who was I talking to? That what does it cost to put a sticker in? And I think it's great. I've still got in somewhere Italian stickers and Revell stickers that I got in boxes. I remember when Revell used to give out patches, like woven patches in their kits.
Yeah, they do it in the Century series, didn't they?
That's a good question.
Look around
I like that. Sorry, just Tigers here with the 3-year question mark delay in launch of their marketed new tool. Are they hoping new tools will be self-funding through the sales of reboxing kits? I think that is a sound question, and if I'm right,
it's a bit of a difficult one because we know how Kinetic works, right? Because they do kits that they like to do. Kinetic also plan to do the Canadian tutor, so the CT114 before, for instance, the Snowbirds one, the trainer, the Canadian one. They're planning to do that, but that has been bumped backwards for several times because Lucky Model, who owns Kinetic Business, is basically saying, okay, I want you to do this, and something else just got bumped back. And if this is a design that is dependent on what Kinetic can actually supply, a delay might not be due to Heller screwing things up, but it might be one of their suppliers not having proper attention to matters, for instance. So this one is a bit tricky, but the rest of the kits, they're still delayed in that regard. Like the Peugeot, for instance, is also set to be gone. That was set to be going in 2024 as well.
I will say, I will say on the flip side of all that, if it's taken this long, there may have been an issue with the tooling that they had to rectify before they signed it off. For instance, the Airfix Eurofighter Typhoon that's due out this week. I got a notification saying that it's now in stock. They've got it now in stock. That was announced, 2020 and beginning of 2024 for 24 release. And there's something happened, and they had to go back and get that tooling adjusted for certain reasons. It's a starter set, so that could have been the case.
Happy with the Ridge, apparently, were they?
No. So they kind of put that back in, which was good. Martin Mountford, hiya mate. You are being seen. I'm seeing you, mate. So if your comments get deleted, I don't know why, but I see your comments here. Finding this stuff isn't easy. Example, wait. I think I managed to find 3 kits. Yeah, I don't see them a lot in scale model circles, in shops, in traders. I really don't. But again, that is the that's something that Glow2B have to look into themselves and find out why they're not getting the distribution in the UK. Obviously, they have the same issues as Revell do with the UK, with Brexit and everything.
It's a choice.
It's but Revell decided to push all their product onto model shop shelves, and not do business to business, business to customer B2C in this country. So, yeah, that's just it's by and by really. They need to get it out there.
Well, you need an importer in Britain in that case, in the UK.
I'll do it.
So
I'll import hella kits for them. They come and chat to me. I'll import them. They'll get as much luck importing Australian paints. I'm pretty sure I can get a load of. The only problem with it is that, and this is true, there's nothing worse than a starter set to put over land, because of the cement is a highly flammable substance. That's the problem. If you speak to Brett at High Altitude Hobbies, he'll tell you if they sell a starter set, they take the glue out and just send the starter set without the glue because of that. So just quickly, Airfix, right? I've got a deal on at the moment. If you spend over £50, you get a free Meteor. And it's a good kit, isn't it, James?
Yes. I'm trying to stick a bloody bit on a sodding tank here.
Yeah, they've got a deal on at the moment. They've got some Meteors, the F8 and the FR9 in 1/24 scale, in 1/72 scale. They're worth about $24.99. So if you order some kits from them, 50 quid's worth, you basically get a £25 kit knocked back. So I keep promising, if I see deals, I'm going to start putting them up here. There's an Amazon deal as well. I'm just trying to remember which. If I see that link, I'll put that up as well. So for kits, etc. Hi everyone. Where is Hella's MF135 farm tractor? Is it cancelled? That's the Massey Ferguson one, isn't it? That's the one you built, wasn't it? Sprue and glue. He's having a fag, I guess.
Yeah, I built the Massey.
Yeah. Is that the MF135? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a very nice build.
You enjoyed it, did you?
I did.
Let's find it. Is it Ferguson, isn't it? Massey Ferguson, wasn't it? Oh, there was a 2020. Oh, right. That's interesting. I see what you mean now. Where is it? Let's just present the screen a minute. Share screen. No, you built the other one, mate. This is the MF. This one here. Now that's interesting. That's out to stage. Right. That one there. So when was that one announced then?
That should say on Scalemates when it was announced.
Yeah, 2003.
Yeah. So that's probably still on the to-do list for them.
Yeah. They never mentioned that though in the video, I don't think.
No, but again, it's a preview, and it's okay. We're planning to do this, and this is more or less how it looks like.
Yeah.
That's basically it. You haven't seen any product announcements since, or any in progress shots or whatever.
So
So
interesting. So yeah, that was cancelled.
like I said, well, not cancelled.
Well, it hasn't come to fruition yet. That's what I meant. Yeah,
exactly. That's not the same, right?
Yeah.
Not the one I built.
No, you built the new one, didn't you? Like the new one with the
modern day.
Didn't you have a broken?
Yeah,
spring?
the cabin. The cabin base was snapped.
That's another thing. That's another thing where I can say that they are very good in their spares department as well.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the 2680, right?
It is.
Yeah. Cracking build that. Look at the finish on that, mate.
That was a lovely build too.
Nice tractor.
Look at those wheels.
Yeah.
Or tires, I should say.
Here. That's where the cab door was snapped. But the door still opens. It still works. Lovely little build. A bit dusty now, but yeah. I enjoyed it.
Sarah Jane said you done a great job on that tractor.
Thank you.
You did very good job on that.
Yeah, looks good.
So,
Cracking job. Martin Mountford just doing the Tiger one early, and I know it's the next Academy with full interior, and it's cracking. The photos of the complete stages are really useful. Yeah, good instructions. See, Hella do good instructions as well.
Depends on the
Yeah,
subject.
I'm building the
That
Airfix
track.
Tiger.
Yeah, you're off the wheel going for it at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what I'm doing just now.
Yeah.
Can't be asked the camera.
That's fine. What was I going to say? Is that the starter set? No, it's not the starter set, mate. They didn't do a starter set in for that
No.
Meteor. I don't think. But they've got them in stock now, worth $24.99. So
Well,
if you want to crack and buy one, buy one.
Well, you were saying the instructions are good.
Yeah.
Just for funsies, have a look at the instructions for the Breguet 693.
Let's have a look, shall we? All right, let's have a look. Was it called the 6?
I should say this is a museum kit.
Yeah.
So basically, this is one of the very early 1950s, 1960s kits, the original ones.
What was the number again? Sorry.
693.
693.
Breguet 693.
Okay. Right. The Breguet 693. Yeah. Okay. Right. So which one are we looking at? Which tooling are we looking for?
One of the new. Yeah. Okay. That doesn't really matter. Because they still have it in the catalog at the moment.
Okay. So in the
So
instructions,
stick to the most recent boxing.
Yeah. You see that? The instructions?
Which is the old school text version of the instructions.
Wow.
Which is kind of nice if you think about it, because that's really digging back into your own heritage.
Yes, that's right.
Hella still do that with a lot of their aircraft kits.
Yeah, especially the older ones.
Yeah.
They do rework their instructions, especially the color ones, as you can see. The schemes are done with a French modeling site, which is the Airfix that you see there, which is a French publication that does specific for French aviation stuff. But in other ways, it's just the old school, the original release instruction set that they give you, which is part of the musée range, right? That's the museum range, which is kind of cool if you think about it.
But it's all in French, not in English. I assume that there's an English version of this then as well, or does it come in French?
It depends. It depends on the release year, because I do have one for the Hawk 75, so basically the Curtiss Hawk P-36, H-35. They did a release with 2 languages for that one, so it had both French and English on it. But this is purely French, and it's okay. You can still understand it. It's quite a simple model, so you can make up what to do with it. It's a 3D puzzle, basically. This is how we used to do it.
I think the pilot in that Hawk 75 model from Hella I think he's Chubby Brown. He's massive.
Yeah,
even I know.
but it's fun. It's their way of doing a nostalgic bit. Airfix has their Vintage Classics branding, and I think Hella should do something similar to that one, considering the age of their models as well. But they could make a name for themselves. So if they do more of the museum bits like this one in that particular range, that would work. You know what you're getting into. It's not a new mold, and they do specify the age of the molds as well on their kits and on the site.
I've built a couple of aircraft Hella kits, and a lot of people struggle with them, but I find them a nice build.
Yeah, I don't find them difficult.
No, I think they're quite well engineered.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in some cases it's the glasswork that's a bit thick, for instance. But that goes with the age of the molds.
Yeah. Have you built many helikits, John Alec, or is that something that you've not really had over in the United States?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think I've physically ever seen a helikit, at least in a shop, like a brick and mortar shop here in the United States. They just don't sell them. You know, I've become acquainted with them through Airfix and Chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Zinzan? Have you ever built a helikit?
I must confess I never have. I think there's a shop, I think it's called Antics up in Gloucester. I think they had some in stock when I've been in there a couple of times, but I think the subjects didn't really interest me, you know, terrifically, and therefore it was just that big yellow box, and that was that, you know. But as I hear more and more, you know, people speak quite highly of them, and I'm quite taken with the idea of a 1/48 starter kit, if you like, with a, you know, with paints and a brush and some glue and so on and so forth. That you know, it apes Airfix's idea, but at a larger scale. It's a nice site. It's a nice idea. You know, I think if that's a new thing for them, then good on them for having a go.
Yeah. Fair enough.
There are some things you have to.
Sorry, Jim Clark. I remember seeing helikits here in the States, but that was a long time ago, mostly in the 70s and the early 80s. Yeah, that does make sense.
Makes sense.
It does make sense. But they do have they had subjects other manufacturers did not make. I think that's
Still
that's
do.
that's by and by, isn't it? That happens to a lot of the you know, you go to certain scale, and some scale model manufacturers do the you know, the, what can I say, not the
Unusual.
the unusual.
French interwall bombers, for instance.
Yeah.
Flying greenhouses.
Yeah, those ones. Flying greenhouses or shit houses or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Nobody else would do that. Well, except Special Hobby or Azure from nowadays, but
yeah.
If you want a challenging build from Hiller, have a go at a Potez 540.
Yes, that one. It's in the stash. It's to be built.
It's great. It's great fun.
Yeah.
But that might just be my particular interest in weird French interwar bombers, basically.
Well,
but that's
the instructions don't tell you how to put the interior together properly. If you do it the way they tell you, the kit won't go together. You have to look at photographs of the interior and then you see what it's really like.
Yeah.
And then it goes together like a glove.
Jim Brooke, which is part of what I was going to speak on next, actually. That they now put the tooling age on the box, which is what Airfix have been doing for the past 5 years, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think the last 5 years they've been doing it. Now Hella are doing it as well. And they say, got to admire Hella being honest about the age of the tooling and tell everyone on the box if it's a revamped old tool rather than claim it's a new one. Revell could learn from that, and I think Revell are learned from that. So, don't worry too much about that. But yeah, I think. Oh, sorry, I think the trap door just opened there at under James's backside. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, your trap door. But yeah, you know, I think being honest about the tooling, you know, but then again, you know, that's always been the way. You don't get the age of a Tamiya box, do you? The age of the tooling. The first thing you do, look at scale mates and find that out. But it is I think people are going in the right direction.
Most you do get the age of the Tamiya kits.
You do get
on
the
the
age,
box.
do you?
Yeah.
You do you?
Yeah.
You do get the age of the plastic in the box from Tamiya on the box.
Yeah, and Tamiya have it on the sprues as well. So if you looked at your Walker Bulldog, it says 1973.
Yeah, but what if? All right, I thought that when they released it with a new scheme, it had the year of the scheme that they put on the box, not the year of the plastic.
Well, no, you have to look at the plastic as well. But most of the it's a general rule.
Yeah, but you won't know that if you unless you open the box. I thought so if they did a tooling and they released it and had a different scheme, the copyright on the box I thought it was. That's interesting. Okay, I might be wrong.
No, because I think I found on the Walker Bulldog, I think some of the tooling dated back to 1969.
Yeah, but they've never changed that scheme. It's been the scheme for years.
It says it here on the bottom of the box, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's only on new stuff now.
Yeah, that's the new stuff. That's where they say what the age of the mold is, the original. So this is a 1982 kit.
Okay. I'm looking on the box now. Yeah, copyright 1975.
Yeah.
But I always thought that if they change the scheme, do they ever change the scheme on this Chieftain? Crumbs 1975, and when I look inside the box of this, it's like a fucking new tool. You know what I mean? I'm not lying. It's it's they.
Oh, it's like the Panther you got from them.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, it was you that wanted a Typhoon, wasn't it?
I've got one, Moz.
Oh, I went up the Attic this morning and got it down for you.
I got it from the lovely Davey Barber.
Right. Anyway, right, catch you up. Most of the plane kits make Mr. Craft and Smash. Yeah, whatever. Go on, move on. Went upstairs, got the ladder out, went up in the attic, dived through all my weeble wobbles and everything else to get to that kit. Yeah, most of Hella plane kits make in Mr. Craft and Smurt. No,
not all of them.
No, not all of them. They bought a lot of Smurt tooling though, didn't they?
They sold off the oldest stuff that they had. So basically for instance, the H75, so the Hawk.
Yeah.
That was sold.
What, to Master Mr. Craft?
Yeah. The Codron 714 was sold on.
The 540, the old MB210 was sold.
Okay.
And several others were sold off.
Yeah.
The Storch, that was another one, wasn't it?
And back in the black box days, or shortly after that one, they also sold some of the kits off. I think the Dragon, for instance, that they had, they sold that off to an Argentinian company. Mobile Emacs, for instance, has several of them. But basically, most of that back catalog is still in their possession. I think 80% of what they had as planes is still in their possession.
Right. Anyways, let's move on a little bit now. I think we've done an hour on Hella, and all we wish Hella and Glow to be, success in the future. We hope that you come back stronger. We're not here to hate, because there's a lot of they had a lot of nostalgia tooling, and maybe they could go down the road of like a vintage classic kind of release of some of the older kits. But as I said, some of the kits I've got in my stash are pretty old. They look all right, and I think there's a lot. I say that in respect of I must have a good 20 kits upstairs that are Airfix boxes, but they're actually Hella model molds inside, and vice versa, I guess. So, right. Well, the plastic modeling, that new Eurofighter Typhoon released by Airfix today, is that a new tool? Yes. Yeah. They announced it in 2024 in the January, and there was an error with the tooling, and they've gone in, and now it's finally here. And I think you'll find there's a few tools that have arrived this week that will be due out. Although they have re-released the Leo 351 again a couple of years ago. Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah. What's that say? Wine and ale home brews when I was a kid. Go to sleep with a glug from speaking. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, we wish the best for Hella under this new ownership of Glow 2B, and we do hope that a lot more of their kits get carried around the world, like, you know, and that people have the enjoyment of building them like we did. I can't deny that Ferguson tractor I built from Hella was such a lovely build. All right, there was a little bit of there's a couple of mistakes in the instructions, but it came with a vac form diorama. It came 2 in the box. I think I paid less than 20 quid for it. I think I got it from
Luke did an outstanding job on the tractor, didn't he?
We did. Cracking job, bastard. I see what you did there. Do people use Hella diorama stuff? I've got some of the They've got their vac form here.
Yeah.
But that's because I'm looking at creating some vac form bases anyway in the future. So I've kept that just for reference, really. But you know, they do a lot of accessories anyway, don't they? They're a bit like Mini Art. I think they do barrels and things like that, if I recall correctly. You know, there's a lot going on for them, and they do see their paint range. Even though they've mixed their own paints, they're numbered and named the same as the original Humbrol colours, isn't it?
Didn't know that.
There's something about Hella that nobody's mentioned. You know, they did a range of 43rd scale cars.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they did quite an extensive range of 43rd scale cars, and they were all sort of 70s and mid 80s cars. I think they could be quite a good seller then.
What did you say? It was 135th?
43rd. The same as the new scale that Airfix are releasing now.
Oh, you were at the beginning, were you?
No, I wasn't on there.
No, we talked all about that originally. Yeah,
right,
you know,
sorry.
Because yeah, they've done a load of starter sets, you know, with old tooling with paint blues in 140 in 143. They've announced that but as I said, we've had no announcements for 2025 what their range is going to be in 2025. And so we thought I'd talk about it tonight. You know, that was all it was.
Well, not directly, but they do have some social media stuff on Facebook.
You do? About Hella, yeah?
Yeah.
On their page or
on their Facebook page, they do respond in the comments as well, and there are some nice snippets in the comments.
I follow their page. I'm sure I do. Do you want to put it up on the screen if you want? You can do that. If you want to go to
if I can find it again.
Yeah, if you can find it, that'd be interesting. It would be interesting to see what they're. You know,
I made a screenshot from one of their things in December, for instance. That was one of the comments when they were going to release the Hawkeye, and that's where they mentioned they were also working on a Greyhound, which was supposed to be coming out later in the year. I need to see if I can find that one because it's on Facebook, and I don't think you can't read it without me logging in.
Are those 2 Grumman aircraft in 72nd?
Let's have a little look. Any questions, folks? Put it in the chat for us. That'd be good. If you've got any questions you want us to answer, I know we'll talk about Hella, but if you've got any questions about Hella, just want to welcome Modeling with Mike. Thank you very much for becoming a channel member. We hope you enjoy the Airfix and Chill when we do a private chat or a members chat on a Thursday. So join us there. Paul Wiltshire, I'm setting up the hair spray kit, and I'm building 4 Harriers at the same time. The Revell Harrier GR5 sucks with next to no detailing. Why? Airfix, you bloody nailed it. It's a good kit, that Harriers.
Yeah.
It's a good kit.
It's a thumbs up from me because I worked on them, so.
Yeah. Was that, and the Hawkeye that never came to be a 148, it was never meant to be. It was always 172nd. It was always 172nd. Yeah, I never saw them announce a 148.
That would be huge, wouldn't it?
So it'd be quite a chunky kit, that one. It would have to be said.
Well, the spinning on top would be massive as well, wouldn't it?
Be like a turkey platter, the spinner on the top.
Oh, we got some good news here, James. Moz, I loved my first members chat last Thursday. It was really great. Would recommend becoming a member to anyone. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate that. We have a laugh on there, don't we? We have a laugh.
Yeah.
We just sat on our benches working away on our models and cursing at them, saying this, Nigel Patterson, I bought an older kit from eBay. The canopy was vac formed and yellowed. Is there a way to revive, or is the only way to scratch vac from a new one? Vac form a new one. Have you tried putting it in the sun?
That doesn't work with acetate or
It
the
doesn't,
plastic.
no.
What you can try, but I would be very careful for that one, is hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
So peroxide in a solution, do it in there, and let it dry out, and put it in the sun. That can help bleaching out. And otherwise, use it as a master mold to make a buck, and then do plunge molding yourself with a new version, or see if you can find an aftermarket bit. Special Hobby Orion.
It was a Special Hobby Lockheed Orion Mod 9. Airfix did rebox a few Special Hobby kits back in the day. Was it the Picaro that they reboxed?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they reboxed that back in the day.
An L9 probably that he's intending instead of a Mod 9. And that's a pretty old one indeed. Yeah, that's a really old one.
Leaving the cuts aside on fingers, what is the preferred glue for vac form to styrene or vac to vac?
Super glue.
Super glue, I'm afraid. Good old-fashioned super glue. Because you can't use extra thin because it won't melt the vac form.
No.
See, I think that's the confusion when it comes to
I think glue and glaze would work.
Glue and glaze would definitely work, but I
Glue and
wouldn't
glaze
do
would
it back
definitely
to back though. I wouldn't do it back to back. It's too slippery. You got to, when you think about it, when you're doing canopies and stuff, you got that edge, and that's bonded to that roughy plastic. But when it's shiny, to vac wouldn't be perfect. I think super glue is your answer on that one.
Well, it depends. A vac form it's still styrene, so it still should work. Don't use extra thin on that one. Use the more thicker traditional tube glue or whatever you want to use, level contactor, for instance.
Or Tamiya Slow, as Zinzan puts it.
Yeah.
I call it
the white one. Yeah, excellent.
I call it extra thick.
Extra thick.
Extra thick.
That works.
Which is a term sometimes used to describe me, but I won't go into that.
On February the 7th, Hella said that 2025 would be a year full of innovations. Well, they better get a move on then. Yeah.
Like I said, it's a make or break year.
Yeah.
I have one for you. What's the best colour to use to make an exhaust heat worn on the Harrier jump jet? Oh, that's a good question.
That would only be the rear, then, in that case, because that's the heated part.
Right.
The front one.
The front one.
I used to do a bit
Basically,
of
they went
two colours.
sooty.
I used to use like a copper or a brass mixed with a matte brown.
With a matte brown.
Yeah.
No.
Right, come out all right.
The nozzles, literally, because of the metal, the steel that they went black.
Yeah.
So use dark iron.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Vallejo do a good dark iron, don't they? That's the one.
Yeah.
Zinzan's got it in his hand.
Yeah. Jet exhaust. Jet exhaust.
exhaust.
The one they use.
Yes, but that's. I think that's glossy. as well, so you might want to tone it down a bit with
you
a
want
black
to
coat.
tone that down.
If you undercoat it with a black primer, a matte black primer, and then spray it thin, it comes out not glossy. I've got it on the inside of the Canberra. It works quite well.
Yeah.
I don't know mine. My extreme. Where is it to? But I had it here. Looks like I don't. Look at that. So there you go. I use this was quite good. The burnt iron metal color. Whoops, I'm still on big screen here. Hang on. Hey, that one there is the one I used. Burnt iron.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good color. That is a good color.
Or XF84 dark iron.
Would you normally use that stuff on a propeller aircraft exhaust stuff?
No, I tend to use gunmetal.
Do you? Because again, I use a mix.
Because what you've got to remember is a lot of the steel. The steel was one of these. It was predominantly. It was designed as an S510, one of the S510 steels that they used. So obviously it oxidized and went rusty. The original color was steel.
Yeah.
And then you can use your weathering powders to tint it.
Weathering powders. Weathering powders.
My pigment.
Fire exhaust stubs were made of a material called Inconel, which is some sort of nickel alloy, but that didn't rust and it didn't brown either. So in those situations, then you can just lightly dust it with exhaust material, like something like jet exhaust. You can use that and then just dab it through and then run the exhaust down the airline of the aircraft, the fuselage line. But Inconel didn't rust, so it's no
Inconel was hard as nails to move, and it was.
No, it's you have to look out for it beginning to split on the exhaust stub. It's I think it forms part of the pre-flight check, I believe, but. But that's all I could add to that.
Yeah.
So what's that stuff you use again, James? Burnt iron?
No, I use dark iron.
Dark iron.
Yeah.
I use burnt iron. I think burnt iron's pretty good for jet.
Yes.
I
like it when I've never done the effect myself, but I love it when they get that purple hint going through it as well. I love that. I've never done it personally. But I've seen it quite a few times where they've got like that purple hint, so that, that tinge at the end. It's pretty cool as well. We see got Annette saying hi, Annette. Annette is also on and comes in on a Thursday and chats with us on where she's building a Tamiya motorbike.
Yeah,
quite good. Any other questions so far before we move on? So we can. Here's a question for you, anyways. So I've always had the impression that a what if is something from imagination. Okay, that's what I think of as a what if. And when I did the video, I mentioned the Orion spacecraft, and I called it a what if. And people are saying, no, it's not. It was in the film Orion, but it's still a what if. It's somebody's imagination.
Yeah.
The same as the Hackenkraut, the flying saucer.
Yeah. You have a point there, because in the original 2001 film, Pan American never had the Orion spacecraft because they were still using airliners, obviously.
That's right. So
theoretically, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people say it's not a what if, it was in the film, but it's like, but Pan Am never owned that spacecraft. No. So if they, so it's what if.
It's a semantics exercise.
I know. I just got a few comments about it, which made me laugh. So
now, if you would brand it in a Delta Airlines one, that would make it a what if.
That would make it a what if. Yeah.
I enjoyed that video as well, Martin. If anyone hasn't seen it, I encourage them to watch it.
Yeah, I've got another 10 now.
Have you?
And there's certain things like, because when I decided to do that video,
Yeah.
it was my list of the things I want in my collection.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that nobody ever heard of the of that, the number one, the boat,
Southern Cross.
The Southern Cross.
If you look at Airfix's website,
Yeah.
it actually says it in their website. If you have a Southern Cross in your collection, it should be in a vault.
Well, on their website, on the Airfix website.
Not the one that Hornby Productions have got, no, the old website.
Yeah.
It actually stated on there that it's worth unmeasurable amounts of money because it's so rare.
Because I don't think, as I said, people say, oh, the Ferguson tractor, but what people don't really realise is that Ferguson tractor was not Airfix's first model kit. There's a semantic here again.
There is a semantic here, yeah.
The actual original first kit
was the Golden Hind.
Was the Golden Hind.
That's right.
They had that tooling, that tractor was originally produced by the Thomas somebody company.
Yeah, Thomas. Yeah.
Yeah. So in theory, they borrowed the tooling to produce a kit that was already made and to be given to a Ferguson owner. Then they decided to.
Didn't Airfix bring that mold into Airfix's factory to assemble?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Out Massey Ferguson, didn't they?
It was originally released by the Thomas. It was owned by Thomas somebody company. I can't think it was called that. Let me have a quick look at my book here. Hang on.
Hold on, dude. It was Airfix's the first known Reebok tooling was a Reebok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the company called? Bloody hell! What was the company called? It's in my book here. But yeah, so that's a bit. Yeah, it wasn't the first actual, design tool that they, the tooling that they owned, and it wasn't a Reebok. It was their first man, getting into it. Was the Golden, and that Golden Hind was still available back in the last time they released it was back in 1998. 24 years ago.
It's the longest running tool in Airfix history, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very colorful. Right? All that stuff on the back, right?
I take your point on that, but it's still Pan Am. That's my point. Pan Am didn't.
Yeah, I do. I totally agree with you.
If you really, it's like when we get a Spitfire and we put it with Thailand markings, or we had a Spitfire in a Red Arrow markings.
Yeah, that's right.
That would be a what if. That was the point. So yeah,
I'm with Trappist on this one.
It is, but as I said, I called it a what if. I called it a what if. So that's why I said it.
2001 was actually depicted in the movie with the Pan Am scheme, so that makes it derived from the movie in that case, which is started. And like I said earlier, if you do that with Delta Airlines markings, for instance, then that would make it a what if, because that wasn't how it was depicted in the movie.
Yeah.
Regardless of
whether
the aircraft is actually used on.
I was looking at the scheme basically. That what if
it's okay because it's completely period correct as well.
Yeah. Question. Has anyone got some oil for James's chair? Yeah.
I have WD-40 there.
That is a what if question.
That's it. It's a what if.
Are you sure it wasn't sharks? With friggin' lasers
on my X-wing. That would be a what if.
Or doing a Messerschmitt 262 in the Rebel Alliance colours, so that's definitely a what if.
Yeah.
Terry, Little History is doing that, right?
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's a what if, isn't it? Same as the vertical takeoff, the with the spinning rockets. You know what I mean? It was a what if, or that tank with one wheel. You know what I mean? It's a what if, or if you had a scheme where
that tank with one wheel actually existed.
Yes. The ball tank existed.
Yeah.
well, only one though, wasn't it? It was a prototype, wasn't it?
Only
What
one
if.
survived.
Yeah, but that's what I was talking about. Was that the what if is, Pan Am never owned that. It would. What if Pan Am did own a spacecraft that looked like that with Pan Am? Anyway, that was the point of it. Anyway, somebody just get a Star Wars fighter and then put the Concorde British Airways stripes down the side. And let's see what that's a fucking what if. I'd like to see.
All they do in an RAF scheme. Do an RAF temperate scheme.
Yeah.
Don't tempt me.
We did some what ifs as well. In the last bottle show in November.
Yeah.
Early November, ESM. They had the F-16 goodbye whole parade. So there were about 100 F-16s in all different guises, and they also made some in the old World War II colors that the Dutch Air Force used back in the day. So that's green, brown, and tan color.
Yeah.
And then you see an F-16 painted up in those color schemes with orange triangles, which is a long time ago.
Yeah.
That was fun. That kind of stuff. All different schemes from different periods mixed up all together.
Sorry, Jim Brooke. That's brilliant.
That would be a what if.
Yeah. Well, what if something that actually existed in physical form? Is that right? Or didn't exist? Yeah, I think
wouldn't exist. Yeah.
Yeah. But as I said, it was like, what if somebody, that's what I saw it anyway. It doesn't exist.
It's a bit like Nigel on his Titanic, so what if, isn't it? So
yeah. Hey, with that Titanic's finish, it'd be the most accurate represented model kit in the world.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's if Dottie hasn't eaten it.
Yeah. I
think Nigel should let Ballard discover it.
Wow, good luck in the shine on that.
Yeah. I'd love to do a Thunderbolt 10AA in Iron Man color scheme. I did that Ford GT in an Iron Man color scheme. Come up all right. I can't remember which Tamiya red I use now. It's on the video. If you go and watch my Ford GT, I'll show you which red I use. I think it looked pretty good.
Oh, the one with the decals.
What's that, sorry?
The one with the gold decals.
Yeah, that's the first time a Cartograph decal sheet failed me. Twice. So I bought the kit twice to get the decal sheet, and it still failed at that same point. That one on the front of the bonnet. Every time it split in two. Yeah. Weird that happened. Very weird. That's the only time I've had a problem with it. Okay, I see now. Right, anyways, going back to comments. Anything else here? History's on his way. Good night all. Nice to see you, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
Good night, History.
TIE fighter in a German scheme. We've seen that already. We've seen somebody's done that already. Yeah. That was floated around years ago. That was.
I don't want to upset Spro.
Yeah.
But has he seen the AI video that's been doing the rounds on Facebook? That this shows the Star Wars characters as a US sitcom.
No,
because they've got R2 as a washing machine.
Don't do AI.
Yeah.
Oh, 92. Do you have a YouTube channel?
Of course he has.
I do, but not for modeling.
Okay. Fair enough. I can't remember if you did or you didn't. I know that you. I know you've got a channel because you got. You can talk on here. You got a thing on here. So, but I didn't know if you had one or not. So,
I haven't put any model videos yet up because that would take me a lot of time in editing and all that kind of stuff, and I haven't found the time yet. So, no kits as yet, but maybe later.
Fair enough.
John muted.
John is muted, I think.
No,
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, John Alec is.
Oh,
No,
John
no,
Allen.
he's in a meeting.
He's in a meeting.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, he's in a meeting. We'll say that was the biggest F-16 collection I ever saw last year on the IPMS. Indeed. Where was I? Didn't see that. I didn't see that at IPMS.
IPMS, Dutch IPMS. I
Oh,
do have
that's
some.
IPMS, was it? Sorry. Okay.
I do have some pictures.
Oh, good.
Want me to show them?
Yeah, show them. Share
Yeah.
your screen and
Yeah.
show them.
You see?
Do you know how to do that? Just go to present and then it says shows pictures. It'll show your screen. You happy doing that?
Yeah, got it.
There we go. I'll add you to stage. You can then show it off.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's cracking, that is. Oh,
Mm.
And different markings, different versions, different
Yeah.
tails,
tidy that
tail
is.
warts.
I like that base with the tiger there. Look at
Wow.
that scheme.
Lovely, isn't it?
Look at the
Yeah.
fade of the orange.
Yeah.
MRP does that.
Mm.
This is 148.
Yeah.
Incredible.
This is a testing rig. This is two-seater that's mostly used for testing purposes. So that's one of the old ones. All range.
Are they mostly the Hasegawa kit?
Kinetic as well.
Yeah.
Tamiya backdated. So what they also did is one specific airframe in all stages of its life. So this is an early version, for instance. It doesn't have the bird sliders in front.
Yeah.
Mm.
You can see the bird sliders in here. So well, this kind of stuff, right? It's
Wow.
a complete takeoff tarmac.
That's a lot of F-16s.
It's an incredible amount, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like the look at the way.
Way!
Put it back. Put it back. We need some boobs on here.
Yay!
That's a cracking. That is. That's a good scheme. That.
Yep.
Mm.
I think Daco did those, the decals.
Yeah.
These
There's
ones
one
are
summary.
Cyhard did them as well.
Hmm.
Well, you get your this is 144 scale,
Oh, they're
so
tiny.
really tiny.
Ravel did a F6 F16 in 144.
Yeah.
All the Allied ones, Belgian.
Those Thunderbird ones are lovely, aren't they?
Yeah.
Anyone who has the old Revell kit, the very first Revell kits, might remember this one because that's the scheme that it was brought out in.
Yes.
So this is basically the F104 F5 scheme. So that was olive green and dark grey. That one with the engine in the back. This is the very first Revell F16 kit that they did back in the day. This is a retro. This is the kind of what if stuff, right? Because this is basically the scheme. Yeah, this is the scheme with the markings from a Spitfire, the Dutch Air Force.
Yeah, they should have done the what if for the RAF anyway, you know, because we never had F-16s, did we? We never went down that route, did we?
Yeah. No.
And this is a complete in a hangar mode with complete trusses and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Bearings. It was really a complete set that it did. It was really enormous. Okay, that was really nice.
yeah.
That'd be a resin engine in there, wouldn't it?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lovely job.
That was great. That was
Yeah.
I do
lots
like
of
an
inspiration.
F-16.
Lots of inspiration to get into.
Yeah. I was only told you, I think that we were offered the is it the F117?
F111.
F-111.
F111, sorry. We turned it down, didn't we? We turned it down.
Yeah.
Well,
we
turn it down. Another way of
No,
putting
but-
it, you asked for plenty of modifications to be done to the original airframe.
Yeah.
The aircraft was the F-111 was beset with a lot of development problems, as you would expect for a swing wing aircraft, and it was probably one of the first that was brought along. The Ministry of Supply placed an order, I think, for 50.
Yeah.
And it was delayed for, I think, nearly 3 years. They then cancelled their order and had to pay the lead time charge.
That's right.
So it ended up costing a good deal of money for something that we never actually got. And we ended up with the MRCA Tornado instead. But this is one of the perennial issues that people tend to take up with, the cancellation of the TSR2 and so on.
Yeah.
Not only have
Because
been
the TSR2 was going to have swing wings, wasn't it?
It was one of the design propositions, but it was rejected at a fairly early stage because of
because I think the minister had gone to a meeting with his American friend. They knew the minister would get drunk and let all the secrets out. And he told them, "Oh, we're going to do variable geometry wings, and we need this particular metal for the bearing." And of course, then the Yanks brought up all the metal.
Yeah.
I think what was he called? Had a big hand in that as well, wasn't it? Mountbatten. He didn't want him in the Navy, did he? Something.
No, he didn't.
He wanted everybody to take Buccaneers, and he went to. The story goes that he went to Australia with a model of a TSR2 and then a model of a Buccaneer, and he sat in front of the Australian government with his model of his TSR2, and he said, "Right," he said, "you can have one of those." Then he got his model of his Buccaneer out. He said, "Well, you could have 3 of those. Which would you like?" Which was essentially the way it went. But the whole variable geometry thing is littered with difficulties, because if you've got a dirty great set of supersonic wings on your aircraft and you stick them out straight, then the center of gravity and center of pressure in the aircraft is in a very different place from when you swing them back. And this is one of the problems that the Tomcat had. And the way that they dealt with it was that there were a pair of knife blade wings that came out at the front when they went into the swept-back geometry.
Fair play.
It was because of the center of gravity. Go on.
I've got a book, and it shows some pictures of swing wings.
Yeah, but the problem with the F-111 was basically that the British version was supposed to be the original F-111A model, but with the larger wingspan that was also used on the FB-111 and the C model for the Australians. And that took a long time. And apart from the whole TSR2 bit where, you know what to say, there are four dimensions: span, length, height, and politics.
Yeah.
And if you get the politics wrong, then whatever you do is lost.
Tragic, really.
Yeah, bit like Boeing did with the when they came and saw the Trident being developed, when they brought out the 727.
Yeah, but do remember that the original plan for the TSR2, or for the original specifications, was basically done in the end of the 50s. And it took them 7 years to develop the aircraft as it was.
There were 2 general operational requirements that were put into place for the TSR2. The original was GOR 339, and then some of the requirements were watered down slightly and rewritten in GOR 343. By the stage of GOR 343, they'd eliminated a number of potential contenders and then gone into the consortium model. So it was British Aircraft Corporation, which was essentially, what am I thinking? It's Vickers and English Electric working together, and Shorts and Haaland were involved at one stage, but they were
they?
So again,
Yeah,
Were they? I didn't know that.
they were involved.
Holland
right
and
up
more built planes.
Yeah, so they
During
were
the
involved up until GOR 343, but
Wow.
whatever requirement, whatever involvement they had was rendered moot by the change in specification. But I've observed elsewhere that the political thing is always tied to the money, and if money were no object, then all military aircraft would be developed on time, and you wouldn't have to think about the in-budget part of it.
Yeah.
Sadly, that's not the case, and it's my view that TSR2 was cancelled because it became too expensive, and politicians can't see more than 3 weeks ahead. It's even worse now than it was then, but at least at some level, back in the late 40s and early 50s, they had some patience with aircraft manufacturers when they were developing things. And it's extraordinarily expensive to develop new aircraft at the cutting edge. And when you think about the new Tempest that they're talking about, that will probably never come to pass because it's much too expensive now for a country like the United Kingdom to develop it, even in a consortium way, as was the MRCA, for example, the Tornado.
Which is a shame because that's another model kit we could build. You know what I mean? It's,
I remarked about this in my in one of my on one of my Substack articles. I remarked about this.
Well, unfortunately, the current government, as I know them, the last time they were in, I was working in aerospace, and the way they bloody interfered and poked their nose in, and let's just say it led to the death of the Harrier.
They have a very strange idea about how to do
you hear all kinds of stuff, and I can see it in the comments as well. You hear all kinds of stuff in defenses and whatever it is. I would like to draw the parallel with the Avro Arrow on the Canadian side as well, which is a similar situation.
Very similar aircraft.
Similar functionality as well. Strike. The thing is, complexity in these ages is something that comes up. The Canadian example had the same issue with engines, for instance, where engine development was the main bugbear that they had. And in the meantime, you have intercontinental ballistic missiles everywhere, which are a way cheaper way of delivering a warhead.
Good night, Julian.
So, Julian.
You have a TSR-2 that has a nuclear capability for the Air Force, and on the other hand, you have ballistic missiles. So do you spend billions on doing an aircraft that might get shot down, or do you buy the missiles?
The irony is, the TSR-2 has had a legacy. So one of the things that they were learning to do is rivet up a certain material. And that material is used in sort of like the A380 now.
Oh, there are certainly spin-offs. There are certainly spin-offs, and as far as the Canadian Arrow goes, for instance, most of the engineers that were working for Avro Canada went to work in the United States because there wasn't any market or any company in Canada itself to do that work. So a lot of the knowledge and experience in aeronautical engineering was Canadian.
Yeah, in the UK they called it brain drain, and it happened here after the TSR-2 went. It forgive me, but it was bloody criminal, quite frankly. It really, really was. Because that was an aircraft.
But it tunes nicely with what happened in the car industry as well. If you check in the same principle in the car industry in the UK, that have the same kind of problems. developing for a market that isn't really there.
I think the world wasn't ready for the A40, was it?
Or the Triumph Herald.
No, indeed, no. Well, the Triumph,
Spitfire.
Yes. Well, I like the Spitfires; they were very nice, and the Stags, they were.
Yeah, they were uglified by the Americans, weren't they, with the rubber bumpers?
Ah.
Yeah, I blame the the Californians for that one.
Yeah, the original Stags are worth a pretty penny now, I have to say.
Yeah, I know someone down the road who's got a Stag. He's got a Stag with an original engine.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's not well known, but the V8 used to overheat. So they decided to re-engine them with a Rover V8.
I'm going to say it was a Rover engine they put in, wasn't it, originally? Sorry, after that. But yeah, one of my pals had a one with the original engine. I recall it had Stromberg carburetors, I think. And he was very proud of the fact that it had Strombergs, because he would lift the bonnet, Stromberg carburetors, he'd say, in nearly that voice. So there we are.
Yeah.
I remember my dad going out to look, when he was alive back then, going out to look for a MGB GT. And we did find a 1977 one without the rubber bumpers, without the plastic bumpers, so still in the metal version. And that was back in 1985, 1986, I think we saw that one. And even back then,
backdate them.
Yeah, that was a 1976 or 1977 MGB. And even back then, it wasn't more than 10 years old, and it already rusted quite heavily.
Yeah.
So we didn't go through with it, but there's still some number plates, some British number plates in the garage. I still have those.
Yeah.
That was the issue with cars in those days, wasn't it? It was rust. You know, you looked at the body shell was good, and the rest of the car was all right, but it's not like that anymore.
Yeah. So it wasn't just the Italians who had problems with rust.
No, the Germans did as well.
Yeah, the Germans did until they discovered galvanizing.
Yeah.
Because obviously the Audis because the Audis are quite rare until the Audi 80/90, and they basically galvanized them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but the Mercs and the BMWs from the 80s and 90s, they still rusted out.
Yeah. Lovely cars to drive. The BMWs are lovely cars to drive.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got the option if you get the steering wheel or not, but.
Can I ask Zinzan a question? We were talking about the TSR2 earlier.
Oh, right.
Do you think the rumour about the F111 being the culprit for the cancellation for TSR2 is true? Because I've seen a video where US politicians came to England to sign the documentation to order the F111, and they stipulated they want the jigs destroyed.
The first thing to say is that destroying jigs on an aircraft that's being developed, that's not going to realise its final destination, as it were, is a standard, more or less standard thing.
Yeah.
And it's done, and I think it's done for political reasons and no other reasons at all.
Yeah.
I think Roland Beaumont has made reference to this particular thing in the past, and it's difficult to say with the benefit, with 30-40 years having passed or more. It's quite possible that there was something in the background. There was an awful lot of this sort of across the Atlantic wheeling and dealing going on. I mean, a good example of that is the Miles. Concorde is one of them. The Miles M52 is an interesting story, which Miles aircraft only really developed elementary and advanced trainers up until they were approached in 1942 or 1943 to build an aircraft that could fly, take off and land under its own steam and travel at 1,000 miles an hour. And they came up with the M52.
Yeah.
Now, they were testing this thing, a little sort of bullet-shaped model about 2 or 3 feet long in a supersonic wind tunnel. And they realized very quickly that an all-flying tail was extremely important in the supersonic domain, in the supersonic arena. The Americans who were testing the X-1 couldn't control their aircraft at close to Mach 1 because it didn't have an all-flying tail. The Americans came along, expressed an interest, we told them about it, and they went away, and then within a very short period of time developed the aircraft and then flew at Mach 1 controllably. You know, so and we're talking about at a time when the sound barrier was considered by some to be absolutely a barrier, an insuperable barrier. You couldn't get by, you weren't going to be able to get by it. But one by one, the problems were ironed out. But to get back to your point, you could argue successfully, I think, there's a distinct probability that there was something going on in the background, with that. There are lots of reasons.
The only reason we didn't end up with the F-111 is because the US Navy didn't. So the funds for changing the spec on the aircraft to suit the RAF's needs weren't available. And that's one of the main
side of that, though. I thought we didn't want it because at the time it was secret. Nobody knew it even existed. That's what I thought.
Well,
and if we had bought it, we would have had to have operated it under secrecy as well when the government didn't want that.
Yeah, but the aircraft has been developed for the US Navy, and the guy in charge of the US Navy cancelled the order in favour of the F-14. And so Grumman named the aircraft after him.
Okay.
I can't remember what his name was now. It was Tomlinson or something, wasn't it?
I would say Mr. Tomcat, presumably.
No, I'm sure his name was Tomlinson, so they called the aircraft the Tomcat.
Yeah. I think it's a matter of fact that that the F-111 was very, very late because of the developmental difficulties they had, and because the development cycle for military aircraft is over such a long period. I mean, let's take the Lightning, the English Electric Lightning. I think took 12 years to come to to frontline service. I mean, it's something of a bloody miracle, quite frankly, that having taken 12 years to come to frontline service, it lasted 28 years.
Yeah.
But when you look at something like the Aardvark, it would quickly be superseded by a Tomcat, which is a much more capable aircraft.
Oh yeah.
And it is for this reason that some of these things get, we say, thrown out, and sometimes babies are thrown out with bathwater. As in the case of the TSR-2, because people simply can't see far enough ahead. And one of the good examples of this was the fact that the TSR-2 had a good deal of electronics on board for avionics, forward scanning radar, side scanning radar, terrain following radar, all of that kind of thing. And that took up a lot of room. So anyone who's seen a TSR-2, they're big. They're very, very big.
It's a long old beast, isn't it? It's a
big old bird.
And it's also quite tightly packed with all kinds of mission boxes and this is 1960s electronics, so it's not miniaturized.
Now, the speed at which those electronics miniaturized over the course of 5 or 10 years would have meant that, first of all, you could fit more into a TSR-2.
Yeah.
You could then increase its range, because where you've lost quite a lot of the big electronics, you can put fuel tanks in, so it can go further.
Yeah.
Its capability would have risen as it went by.
But then you would have to redesign the whole aircraft, because you have to take into account center of gravity operations when you're replacing electronics with tankers, because tankers get depleted, electronics don't.
Yeah,
so it's not as simple as just replacing
no,
and putting in a fuel tank.
Quite right. But as it is with the the stealth bombers and so on, the B-2 stealth, it's automatically moving fuel around the place to keep the center of gravity in the right place anyway. These are not.
Or it's used as heat sinks.
Would
1970s tech be capable of doing that? On the same scale as happened with a B-2 now.
The requirement for changes in center of gravity when fuel load lessened was well understood at that stage.
Yeah.
The principles of it were well understood. That's why you've got a driver and a passenger in these things, I suspect, to look after some of this kind of thing. That's why you had flight engineers in some aircraft. In fact, most aircraft had a flight engineer, even Concorde. It's his job to look after that sort of thing.
Yeah.
John put his hand up a minute. Did you want to say something, John? You're on mute, by the way, John Alec. You're on mute, mate. John Alec.
He's talking to his bosses.
Oh, I see. He's waving at me, and I thought, fair enough. Fair play. Just on that, it's Cosford's got the TSR2 on display. I don't know if
it's not the one that basically flew.
XR219 was XR219 flew. Cosford has XR220. And then Duxford at the Imperial War Museum has XR222, but XR222 is essentially a conglomeration of several different aircraft.
Yeah, they hid the parts under St George's Hill at Weybridge.
Yeah, there you go. And they put them together to create an aircraft. So it is effectively
a certain government went absolutely apeshit when they did it.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, it's nearly 10 o'clock, folks, and I've got a phone call to make. But anyways, as I said, we had a lot of love for Hella tonight. We hopefully that they'll sort things out. There's been messages on Facebook that say that they're going to be bringing out some good innovations. Keep your eye out, folks. If you pre-ordered your Eurofighter Typhoon from Airfix starter set, that's due out this week. I got an email today saying it's now arrived in the warehouse. So hopefully we will be building them this week. Huge thanks to the few that I've seen today I've not recognised before. So I assume that they become subscribers because of my Airfix Rare Kits video. Appreciate that. Hopefully you've all enjoyed it tonight. I just want to thank Ian for Alt 92 Duck. We've got Dave from Spur and Glue. He popped in. John Parker. We must get you a microphone, John, because that fan is so real. It's all the way through. I have to mute you, mate. We'll have to sort you out a microphone or something.
I think it's my fan on the computer.
Yeah, it's the fan on the computer, mate. You'll have to get you a secret set. If you can get one, mate, a little USB.
Well, you have to get a triple for your mic.
Yeah. It's built in, isn't it? Oh, it's James, I've built in. To Zinzan, thanks for joining us tonight, and to James. Thanks all again. We'll be back again next Monday. Remember, if you're a channel member, I'll see you Thursday. And again, if you've got any subjects you want us to talk about, email me. It's in the About section of my channel. And we'll add them onto the list of things that we'll discuss. And hopefully, I've spoken to Dale this week. So hopefully, we're going to get him on the next couple of weeks. And we can have him. So anyway, folks, have a good rest of your week. Enjoy yourself on the modelling bench. And thank you for joining us on Airfix. Bye all. Bye-bye.